I'm going to share with you the 10 keys to unlock what I call your quick brain, right? These are the 10 things scientifically proven to help you be faster, smarter, and better, to optimize your brain health and your fitness. And now, every single thing I'm going to say, nobody's going to debate, right? They're going to say, yes, of course, but common sense is not common practice. So what I'm going to ask people who are watching this is to rate yourself 0 to 10. How well am I doing in this one area? Like in terms of how I'm eating or exercising or something. And then you'll notice, everyone wants to know what the magic pill is. There's no magic memory pill. They're magic memory processes, right? If everyone wants to know the one silver bullet, you have to do all of these things because that's what falls within the focal point, meaning the 80-20 rule, the 20% that gives you 80% of the results and the rewards. So really fast, the 10 keys for unlocking your quick brain. People don't even have to write it down because I'll teach them how to memorize them,
cool.
Right? So, and we can do it together. Number one is good brain food, all right? Good brain food, because you are what you eat. What you eat matters, especially to your gray matter. What you eat matters, especially to your gray matter. So we did a whole episode on my top 10 favorite brain foods, and I show people how to memorize it in 2 minutes. I mean, it's wild, but there's certain foods that are really good for your brain, and you probably eat most of these foods as you are, because I know you're very...
Blueberries,
yeah, all like blueberries is like, I call them brain berries, and avocados and the good fats and all of them. So there's 10 of them that I recommend. And so they're really excellent. They're very neuroprotective and such, including dark chocolate. So dark chocolate is good. What's good for your mood is generally good for your mind. But so a good brain diet is number one. So just rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10. How good is your diet? All right. Number two is killing ants, automatic negative thoughts, your self-talk. And so what I would recommend people, 0 to 10, how's that feel? How well are you doing? And not only that, but maybe going on a little fast or a cleanse. Like we cleanse the food we eat and things we put in our body, but what about the thoughts that we're putting in our body?
Should they try to do 30 days of no negative thoughts?
I mean, yeah,
1 day?
or not complaining or something
right,
like
no
that.
Complaining challenge,
because it's just, again, people get so addicted to these things like, complaining and whatever you're rehearsing, you're literally rewiring your brain to get more of that. It's not law of attraction. There's a law of action that's going on. That makes it, because all behavior is belief driven. And so you're wiring your brains to be really rehearsing those things. That's why they say that the fearful person, like a fearful person dies 1,000 times, like a coward dies 1,000 times in their mind, and non-coward, like a brave person dies just once. Because every time you're rehearsing, oh, I'm scared of public speaking, you do it over and over again, not only do you get the fear of it every single time, because your mind doesn't know the difference between something you vividly imagine and something that's real. Literally, if you were to put on a brain sensing device, the same parts of your brain that would light up if a dog walked in, you see what parts of your brain lights up, and if you imagine that dog walking in, the same exact parts of your brain will light up. So the mind doesn't know the difference. It's the most powerful tool you have is your imagination. I mean, it's crazy. Like when I was saying that, Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the Four Agreements, was there. I called him on stage. I was like, what's your superpower? And he was like, Jim, my superpower is like everyone's superpower here. It's the superpower of imagination, right? Because knowledge is what is, but imagination is really what could be. And there's this crazy study called the counterclockwise study by Ellen Langer out of Harvard. And this is valuable for people. In 1979, she was in a nursing home, and she was like, this is really depressing. Why? This is the worst environment to spend the remaining years. So she took 8 of them out and put them into a monastery. But what was different is she made it so it was in 1979 in there. She decorated it like it was 1959. So the Time magazine cover was from 1959, black and white television show, whatever's there. She took out all the mirrors so people couldn't see themselves. And these 8 men walked in with canes, and they did testing with them. And they tested their focus, their senses, their memory, their physical strength, and took pictures of them and all that. And then they took a control group, put them in, 8 guys in a room that she didn't decorate it. She just said, reminisce like it was 20 years ago. And that was the difference. 1 week later, just 1 week later, they come back. The guys come out, and these guys didn't even look like the same guys. Many of them didn't even walk out with their canes. But they tested them empirically. Their sense of sight was better. Their sense of hearing was better. They had stronger muscular strength, right? And on top of it, all of that, they took a picture of them before and after just 7 days, and they took a focus group, people that don't know anything about the study, and they showed them the 2 photos side by side, and they said, which one is the younger one, right? And 100% of the focus group chose the latter one. after just 7 days. So when I'm saying the power of imagination, we don't know the effect that our thoughts have, in terms of things and such. And it's pretty amazing. But going back to the power of killing ants, our thoughts are things, and it's activating our imagination. So, don't do it to rehearse your fears and the things that are negative, right? Only have thoughts of things that you want to really happen.
Okay.
So the third thing, exercise.
Okay.
People, really, we know. Number 4, brain nutrients. And this is a subject that comes up because, a lot of people travel, they have fast food lifestyles, and, but maybe they're lacking in certain supplements. And what I would say is, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not anything that ends on an ist, but go to a doctor, a good functional medicine doctor, have a blood test. And I say the same thing for diet. When people say, what's the best? Do food sensitivity tests. See what your blood says. Red, yellow, green. Red, stay away from. Yellow, sparingly. Green, and see how you flourish on it afterwards, right? And then test it. But same thing with nutrient profile. You can see what you're deficient in. Because if you're low on B vitamins, if you're low on DHA, then you're going to have cognitive issues, right? So supplement. Number 5 is
I was low in B12 when I was training for the Ironman, and then I got a blood test, and they were
that
was it. But I think I was low before, but as soon as I had the supplement, everything changed, including my motivation to run.
Exactly, that's huge for cognition. Fifth thing that you want to optimize your brain is positive peer group. We know who you spend time with is who you become, and it's not just a positive thinking affirmation quote. Literally, you have mirror neurons, and your mirror neurons in your nervous system is when you could watch a sport or watch a movie and you could feel what they feel. It's what or you have empathy for other people. We're always imitating people, right? And so who you spend time with is who you become, because you're imitating their habits, their behaviors, their thought patterns, and everything. So that's why they say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? If you're around 9 broke people, you're gonna be the 10th, right? Like, you hear these things all the time, but it's not just your biological networks or your neurological networks. Analyze your social networks, right? Because whether or not you smoke has less to do with your neurological networks and more to do whether or not your friend's friends smoke. It's going to have more of an influence. 6th thing for your brain, clean environment. We know a clean environment is good for your brain. At an anecdotal level, when you clean your desk or you clean your laptop off, you have clarity of thought, right? But I don't just mean that. I mean clean air, clean water, because there's a lot of pollutants that's not good for your cognition, right? So from there, we have number 7, sleep. This is a big one for so many people, Brian. I don't know how your sleep is, but
it's getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've always tried to hack it and work on it. And I've done the screen thing and the blue light, but look, it can be better.
Yeah. I mean, sleep is so important for your brain for 3 reasons. Number 1 is where you consolidate short to long-term memory. Everyone who pulled an all-nighter back in university, that hurt you because you need that sleep. Number 2, it's where you clean out the plaque that could lead to brain aging challenges. And that's what the latest research is saying in terms of leading to dementia and such. And then the third reason is because when you dream. And here's the thing, you're like, what does that have to do with anything, Jim? It's like, you don't know how many amazing ideas and invention, literature, works of art came in dream states. Like, did you know, like I mentioned Mary Shelley, here in London, Frankenstein came to her in a dream. Paul McCartney came up with Yesterday in his dream. Like a chemist came up with the periodic table in his dream. Elias Howe created the sewing machine in his dream, right? Like, what are you dreaming about late at night? Because when you are working all day and you're learning all day, your brain doesn't shut off at night. At night, it's more active. People don't realize that. You think it's just not happening. It's actually more active, and it's coming up with solutions, and it's integrating stuff in the form of dreams. But when you wake up, most people forget their dreams.
You write your dreams down when you wake up?
I do. I have 6 things I do. In my morning routine episode where I talk about the very first thing I do is the 6 steps on how to remember my dreams, because there's gems in there. Every single day there are insights and inventions and things that my unconscious is just, and that's how you can get like all that extra time back, through that. And we did an episode on lucid dreaming, how to be aware and awake but still get rest. But so all of this is important, but sleep. Number 8 is brain protection. Meaning that, like I work with a lot of athletes, high performer athletes. Concussions are a big deal, right? And I've had a number of TBIs, traumatic brain injuries. But not just that, I did a whole episode on electromagnetic fields. Like, people don't realize that like our smart devices, like our brains didn't really evolve to have like all this electricity like right by our brains, And I read recently that 90% of kids sleep with their phones underneath their pillows. I mean, who knows the effect that's having?
So better avoid it.
Protect your brain. Wear a helmet. And then finally, 9 and 10, ninth key to keeping your brain alive is new learnings. right? The neurogenesis and neuroplasticity means neurogenesis, you could create new brain cells the day you die. Science never thought that. Neuroplasticity is saying you could create new connections, meaning that Einstein's brain wasn't bigger than any of ours. In fact, it was smaller, but parts of his brain were very highly connected because he would do these theta state brain thought experiments, and every single time you have a new thought, you may create new connections, right? And so the way to improve neurogenesis, neuroplasticity, two things: novelty and nutrition.
Okay.
Just like when you're an athlete, just like training your body, you give it novelty or stimulus, and then you feed it with nutrition, right? And so that's how you build your mental muscles too. Finally, number 10, stress management. Stress management, meaning people don't realize it because it's invisible, but it's like you don't realize how much stress you're under until you're on vacation or you're getting a massage. You don't realize because it's all there all the time. It's like the fish that they don't see the water because it's there all the time. So what are we doing to cope? To, meditation, relaxation, massage, yoga, whatever it is that gets us stressed. So those are the 10 keys. So I'm gonna teach people right now how to memorize all 10 in a few minutes, literally a few minutes. Yeah. So this is a great technique to use when you need to give a talk. Like if you need to give a presentation and you don't wanna rely on notes, this is a great way of having your key points. This is different than me teaching like the actors how to memorize things verbatim because they need to remember word for word. Like poetry, but this is like 10 keys, right? Because you do public speaking. We met at public, speaking events and such. So if you're on stage, the problem is you want to remember what you need to know. But if you have to answer a question, you come back and you're like, oh man, where was I?
Yeah.
This will tell you exactly where it is. And this is a 2,500-year-old Greek technique, ancient Greece, a Greek orator named Simonides. Basically, he was giving a poetry reading, and when he left, something really bad happened. The building collapsed and killed everyone there, and he was the lone survivor. So it was his responsibility to help the family members identify their loved ones, and he was able to because he remembered where they were all sitting. And we do the same thing. Can't you remember, like, recently if you had a dinner party, who was sitting to your left, who was your right? Yeah. Because as hunter-gatherers, we didn't need to memorize numbers and words. We needed to remember where things were. Where's the clean water? Where's the fertile soil? Where's the food? Where's the enemy tribe? That was our survival. So we store things in places.
Okay.
So this technique...
Spatially is very important.
Very much so. Okay. Because, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk everybody through my office. I'm gonna designate one place, 2 places, 3 places, 10 places. And then I'm gonna put each of the brain tips on each of the places. And that's gonna utilize visualization and place and to help people to remember it, because those are 2 huge principles in memory. Now, by the way, in the first place this, in the second place that, if you've ever found yourself saying that, that's where it came from. That languaging, if you've ever found yourself saying in the first place, in the second place, it came from this 2,500-year-old memory technique. We don't use that anymore. Now I'm bringing it back as one of the techniques, but it's in our language. It's been there. Before we could write things down and everything else like that. We would remember these ways doing this. So everyone could take a deep breath, and if it's safe, close your eyes just to help you focus. Right. I want you to imagine you're on a plane. We have an office in Westchester, New York, which is a suburb of New York City. And I want you to imagine it lands in Westchester Airport, car picks you up. And even if you can't imagine it, just imagine you can imagine it. And just a car picks you up, you're in the back seat, you're going to my office. You get to the office, the first place is the parking lot. So we could just repeat out loud, everyone. What's the first place?
Parking lot.
Parking lot. And when you get out of the parking lot, I want you to imagine the first brain tip, there's a good brain diet waiting for you. And a big brain buffet. I mean, just like blueberries and avocados and green leafy vegetables. Walnuts are really good for the brain. They actually look like brains. Dark chocolate, right? Turmeric lowers inflammation in your body. And so you're there and you're just having a big food fight. Super brain soup.
In the parking lot, right? Okay.
It would never happen. You're like, Jim, this is so childish. But who are the fastest learners? Children, right? Musical instruments, languages. Be playful here. Number 2, you walk over, there's a waterfall, creates a moat around the building, so you cross a bridge. The second place is the bridge. What's number 2? Second place is what? Say it out loud.
The bridge.
The bridge. And when you're crossing the bridge, you're killing ants.
Okay.
You're stepping on ants, automatic negative thoughts.
These big ones the size of rats.
Exactly. And use your imagination, because that's like Don McGraw really says, that's your power, right? Your superpower. Okay. Stepping on the ants. Great. From there, you go into the building. The third place, you get into the third place, the elevator. What's the third place?
Elevator.
Elevator. And everyone who's with us right now, say it out loud also, so that you get your auditory memory. Third is the elevator. You walk into the elevator and you start exercising. That's the third brain tip, exercising. So whatever exercise is for you, you have your personal trainer in there, maybe you're doing your yoga, whatever it is, your burpees, whatever you got, do it in there. But see it and feel it. You can't just hear it. You get out of the elevator, you get to the fourth place, which is the hallway. You walk into the hallway. What's the fourth place?
Hallway.
And you're walking in the hallway, and all these brain vitamins are there on the floor. Big bottles of brain vitamins. Maybe you're tripping on the brain vitamins. You see the omega-3s, the DHAs, the ginkgo bilobas, your vitamin B, your B12s, all your brain vitamins, and you're like Indiana Jones, Lara Croft, you're jumping over the brain vitamins.
I'm in the hallway of the movie The Shining, like the kid with the
Perfect.
thing. I'm in that hallway.
Perfect. That's number 4. You open up the door to the office, and immediately to the left is the 5th place. It's the closet. And so what's the 5th place? Say it out loud.
Closet.
You open up the closet, and inside is your 5th brain tip, is your positive peer group. I want you to see all your happy friends in the closet.
In the closet.
All your happy friends are having a cheery, amazing time, high-fiving each other, happy friends in the closet. They're encouraging you, they're challenging you, they're cheering you on. Great, you're halfway there. From there, you go to the 6th place, which is the receptionist. What's the 6th place? Receptionist. And the receptionist is cleaning the environment. Cleaning the air, changing the air filters, vacuuming, mopping, and everything is obsessively clean, all right? Clean environment. From that, behind the receptionist is the 7th place, is the fish tank. So what's the 7th place?
Fish tank.
Fish tank, beautiful tropical fish tank. And in there, you want to remember sleep. So just see Nemo and Dory sleeping. But don't just make it regular sleep. They're in their pajamas, they're snoring, they are in their bunk beds. See and feel what that would feel, imagine that. If it makes you laugh, remember, information alone is not memorable. Information combined with emotion becomes a long-term memory. So they're sleeping. Now, from there, you walk to the classroom, because you're going to take our speed reading class. The door to the classroom is the 8th place, the door. What's the 8th place?
The door.
The door, and it's locked. So how do you open it? You just put on your helmet, which reminds you of protect your brain, and you headbutt the door open. Not that that's very good for your brain, but it shatters everywhere. But the helmet is what you want to remember. Protect your brain.
Okay.
From there, immediately up front is a whiteboard. That's the 9th place. What's the 9th place?
Whiteboard.
And I'm there. I'm there, and I'm drawing on there, teaching you. And what am I teaching you? I'm writing these 2 words, new learnings. New learnings. And I want you to think about the marker. Think about what your favorite color is. What's your favorite color?
Red.
Red, and it's red. I'm drawing that in red, new learnings, because new learnings makes neurogenesis, neuroplasticity. There was a study on the cover of Time magazine, these nuns living to 80, 90 and above. They found out half of their longevity had to do with their faith and their emotional gratitude, but the other half, they were lifelong learners. And because of it, added years to their life and life to their years. I just talked about this in Sardinia here while I was here, which is one of the blue zones. From there, on the side of the classroom are all these bonsai trees, these Japanese plants. And what you need to picture is stress management. So imagine meditating or getting a massage, but you have to do it on the bonsai trees, so it's a little prickly, right? Bonsai trees.
I have to sit up there and meditate.
Yes, stress management on the bonsai trees. Maybe you're meditating, whatever gets you out of stress. Maybe you're having a glass of red wine, but sitting on the bonsai trees, right?
Okay.
Perfect. Now open up your eyes.
Okay. That was fun, by the way.
Yeah.
That's
the thing. And it's a great exercise in focus, creativity, and imagination. And it's a great strategy in practice and strategy. And the reason I'm bringing this up at a meta level, I've never talked about this, but all the jobs in the 21st century are going other places, right? And everyone wants to know, like, what makes us human? We have AI coming, and everything's gonna be automated, and everything's gonna be outsourced, right? So where's the potential for growth in our careers and as an entrepreneur or someone who's progressive? 3 areas that computers aren't gonna be able to duplicate anytime soon that makes us more human, that I would double down on. Number one, whereas everything's being automated or sent to Asia or and to be able to outsource or artificial intelligence, 3 things that'd be really hard to outsource. Creativity, right? Creativity, imagination, and strategy. So these exercises that we did aren't just for helping boost your mental intelligence to help you learn what I just wanted to teach you. It's a great exercise in mental fitness, help you be more creative, help you exercise your creativity muscles, your imagination muscles, and using real step-by-step strategies, in terms of 3 steps. You imagine it, you link it, and you put it into place. So from here, now, you're giving your TED Talk, right? Yeah. You have to give, which you've done before, but let's say you have your 18 minutes and you want to talk about the 10 keys for unlocking your quick brain, right? And you're just like, hey, the research says 1/3 of it is predetermined by genetics biology, 2/3 in your control, these are the 2/3. Number one, you just walk around my office and you get triggered. So everyone could say this out loud because we want to make it interactive. Number one is not the place is the parking lot, but what are you doing there?
Brain food.
Yeah,
it's
brain
everywhere.
foods. Eat your brain foods.
Right.
Perfect. You go over to the second place. The second place is the what?
The bridge.
The bridge. And what's the brain tip?
I'm squashing the ants.
Yeah, squash those ants. Automatic negative thoughts.
Right.
And then from there, you go into the building, you get into the what?
Elevator.
Elevator. And what do you do in the elevator?
I'm exercising.
Exercising.
Doing
Exercising. Burpees, great for the brain. You know, it gets the heart rate going, really good for the brain, especially in the first thing in the morning. And then from the elevator, you get out and you're immediately right in the fourth place, which is the what?
Hallway.
Hallway. And what's all over the floor?
All of this supplements, right?
Yeah.
All of my nutrition, brain nutrition.
Yeah, brain nutrition. And that's number four. And then you go into the room, my office, immediately to the left is the fifth place. You open up the what?
Closet.
Closet. And who's in the closet?
My peer group. They're
Your
all
positive
hanging out.
group.
They're stuck to each other, and
Yes.
then they're all getting along with each other and having fun.
They're positive, and they're positive. Good friends are good for your brain. From there, you get out of the closet. You talk to the who? Receptionist. And what are they doing?
They're keeping everything clean. The air clean, the water clean, the environment
Clean environment's good for the clean internal environment for your brain. And then from there, behind the receptionist is the
fish tank.
And what are they doing?
They're sleeping.
They're sleeping.
Not just any sleep, the good sleep.
They're getting the deep sleep, which is good for your brain. And then from there, you're going to the class. You open up the...
I thought I lost this, but I got it. The door.
The door.
With my head, and I make sure I've been careful with my brain. No brain injuries.
Yeah, no brain injuries because you're wearing that helmet. And then immediately up front of the classroom, I'm drawing on the what?
The big whiteboard, and it says in big red letters, new learnings.
New learnings. New learnings, good for the brain. And finally, number 10, what's on the side? All those Japanese plants.
Bonsai trees.
And what does that remind you of?
Reminds me of stress management. I'm meditating on the bonsai trees.
Manage your stress. Because fight or flight, stress is good for fight or flight physical, but not if you need to take a test. Not if you need to give a presentation at work. Those are the 10 keys for unlocking your quick brain. And the thing is, when I go through that, notice you can do all that, but not sleep, you're not in good shape. Right? Everyone wants to know the one thing. You can do all that, be deficient in B12, you can be in challenging. You can be with all that and be with energy vampires, and it's gonna suck the mental energy out of you. Or wonder why you're just mental fog, brain fog, and you're losing it. Every single thing is important. And so my goal is, genius leaves clues, that it's not a mystery. We just have to do it. Just like going back to this, that first you create your habits, and then your habits create you.